Hello, and a very warm welcome back to Swift Horizons, the Amazon FBA podcast that wasn't actually going to be an Amazon FBA podcast. It was going to be a one-off special episode following the chat last week with Flipping at 30. However, following the immense success of that, we've decided to do a few more episodes to speak to some amazing Amazon FBA sellers and people who are in the space that just want to kind of have a conversation and talk about their experiences and what's going on as well. So I am delighted to be joined today by Yusuf. Hello, Yusuf.
Well, hello, Tom. Thank you very much for having me.
How are you?
I'm all good. Thank you very
Yusuf's
much.
actually made a 3-hour trip here today. How was that?
It was quite a nice drive
Yeah.
down, sorry, because the roads were quite clear.
Yeah.
And it's early in the morning, so it's woke me up. I've got ready for this. I've been preparing the whole way, so if you've got any questions, I'm going to just fire away and just be completely honest with you.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think a lot of people, especially the feedback from last week, a lot of people really like to hear kind of about people's journeys and about how they got started doing Amazon and the challenges that they've had, and what kind of is next and what kind of their concerns are and how it is to be an Amazon FBA seller in the space at this point in time. So tell us a little bit about your journey. So you're a multi-7-figure seller at the moment, but I'm guessing it's not always been that way. How did it kind of start?
Well, I can walk you back all the way back to when I first started, which was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And my friend actually put me onto Amazon. And within maybe even less than 2 days, he'd quit completely. Like, he just left me straight in the dark. I knew nothing about Amazon before this point. So it left me just to learn the entire concept of Amazon FBA by myself.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was a placement year student at university. So by myself, I wanted to become something a little bit more by the time I got back to university, have a bit of income coming in. I was thinking, if £2,000 a month extra, that would be really nice. If I'm at university, I got a bit more spending money on the side.
That's a dream.
That's
a dream for
right?
somebody at uni, yeah.
Yeah, and especially a lot of university students, they'll be working weekends every single week to just take home maybe an extra £500 a month.
Yeah.
And that £2,000 would be an absolute dream, as you've just said. So I started off doing arbitrage, and it was just me and my dad.
Yeah.
I never had a car, so my dad had to take me to TK Maxx, Home Bargains, Asda. And do you know what? I'm very blessed to be in a situation where my dad was just super supportive.
Yeah.
Many Asian parents specifically, they're not really too supportive on these kind of side hustles because they want you to focus on education.
Yeah.
But luckily, my dad was very on board with the idea. And I'd get these leads from the Discord groups, right? So live cops, they would ping a notification and be like, go to your local TK Maxx. There's 5 of these there. There's 5 toys in Home Bargains that you want to get.
Yeah.
And we'd race and just get them, pack them off and send them to Amazon. So I was doing mostly retail arbitrage for my first 3 months.
Yeah.
And that was from September till around December.
What year are we talking?
So 2022 is when I started.
Yeah.
And I slowly started picking up the sales, and I quickly came to the realization that arbitrage, it's not too scalable. Like, I can't be going to every single supermarket near me every single day.
Yeah.
It's not scalable because you don't know if there's a guaranteed going to be leads over there. Sometimes you'll walk in and you'll come back empty-handed.
Yeah.
So I thought the next way to scale up would be online arbitrage. And with that, it's a similar concept, but you're just buying the leads from the website as opposed to going to the retail store and buying them from there.
Yeah.
And with that, I scaled up considerably. I started doing around £30,000 in sales a month from just online arbitrage. And that took me up until around October 2023.
Yeah.
And I had a similar realization at that point where online arbitrage isn't too scalable because these sites can shut down your account, they can block your bank account, they can block your address, and they can block your name. Everything related to you, they can block. So you have to get loads of different loopholes around it to place multiple orders.
Yeah.
And that's just not a way I believe a business should operate. If you want to get scale and mass scale, talking hundreds of thousands to 1 million a month, you can't be just placing orders from these online websites. So I thought, instead of buying the brands through the website, I'll contact them directly
Yeah.
and try to open and manage relationships with the brands directly so I can purchase as much as I want. But that's not as easy as it sounds, right? Because these brands are dealing with the likes of Asda, Home Bargains, who are placing multiple millions of pounds worth of orders per month.
Massive retail businesses.
Exactly. And then there's me with like £10,000
Yeah.
trying to get similar prices so I can compete on Amazon is just not going to work.
Yeah.
And that's where my journey sort of started. So in February of 2023, I actually became more into the wholesale space.
Yeah.
And I opened my first account. Sorry, I keep getting the years wrong. Sorry, February 2024.
Yeah.
So February of this year is when I started with the wholesale, and it all just took off from there.
And how? Because I think you get a lot of people that jump into the Amazon space and say, okay, I want to do wholesale. Wholesale is the way forward. I want to be getting pallets of tens of thousands of units. Do you think it's a very kind of disillusioned view that people have that it's actually easy to get into wholesale and I should actually just jump into it because that's where the money is?
So with wholesale, you do need a little bit of capital.
Yeah.
I'd say you need around £10,000 to £15,000 to buy wholesale stock with. If you have £2,000 or £3,000, stick with your online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, because that will let you scale considerably quicker. Like you can find leads with 100% ROIs, 200% ROIs
Yeah.
through those methods of sourcing. But with wholesale, it's more slowly progressive scaling.
Yeah. And would you? So you obviously you started doing the RA, then the OA. At what point did you go, okay, this is quite a lot to manage on my own? And do you do it on your own now, or have you got other people involved in your business, or how does that work?
The first mistake I made was let me outsource my sourcing to a VA.
Yeah.
And as a lot of Amazon sellers would know, that VAs, they're not really too competent, especially from countries where the education is significantly less than what we have in the UK. So
Yeah.
trying to teach them these methods of sourcing and understanding your business, it needs a lot of man hours.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the time to teach those VAs how to do everything because I was still managing the business by myself.
Yeah.
So if I was to do it again, would I hire the VAs? Probably not. But if I was to hire a VA now, I'd have to walk through them step by step and give them proper mentorship and one-to-one time, which is it really worth it?
Yeah. Because actually, for them to fully understand your business and your ways of working and what you're looking for, it's not just as simple as going, okay, right, off you go kind of thing.
You'd have to dedicate like over 100 hours a month
Yeah.
to get them on track to where you want to be, because these agencies, they promise you that you can get them up to scratch, but the level of training that these agencies give the VAs in 1 or 2 weeks, it's nowhere near the level that you'd want or the level you'd expect somebody to come into your business at.
I think we noticed that. So
Yeah.
at C&K, we noticed that of people who have VAs. So we might have, I don't know, we're at 80 plus customers strong now. And we have customers that have VAs. They don't really share VAs, but they've all got VAs that are in the Philippines. And the number of the same deals that kind of come through the system, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
It is. And I noticed it when I had my first VA, shout out to Algie. And she was very, very nice. But the one issue I noticed is when I'd find a product, within the next week or 2 weeks, there would be 200 more sellers on the listings.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can't compete with that because everybody's penny undercutting each other and you can't get profitable deals through that. So with CNK Logistics, you guys would prep it and give it the next day. So I would have a couple of days to actually have a bit of competition
Yeah.
over these guys. But long term, I didn't think it was the play.
No. It's really challenging, isn't it? It's trying to find that balance. And this comes on to kind of the new seller conversation, people who have joined the Amazon FBA space because they've heard from a friend similar to your situation, or they've heard from in a group or whatever it might be that, okay, you can make money with Amazon and actually set up an Amazon account and go and buy this and sell it for an inflated price. But then people have the stock in and believe, okay, well, I've had that in for 6 hours and it's not sold, so I need to lower the price by 10p or a penny or whatever it might be. And it's like a vicious cycle, I suppose, isn't it? Do you think that's becoming more and more common now that lots more people are kind of finding out about Amazon?
I think Amazon is the best side hustle in the UK if you want to be getting an extra £1,000 or £2,000 a month, or
Yeah.
matching your monthly 9 to 5 wage with your Amazon wage. So if somebody's earning, for example, £3,000 a month, so getting £6,000 a month, the lifestyle changes
Yeah.
significantly different. But in terms of the low-hanging fruits, everybody's going for the low-hanging fruits now.
Yeah.
And then when those level of low-hanging fruits have gone, then everybody's going for the next level. And it just becomes a rush to the bottom.
Yeah.
And everybody's fighting for the bottom line. And you're right, it is becoming a lot more common nowadays because the amount of sellers is increasing drastically.
Yeah.
So I think there are methods that you can put in place if you were to start to put yourself above everybody else. And to put it simply, you have to be doing things other people aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
And that's how you get success in Amazon and build long-term successful business, maybe 7 or 8 figures.
It's kind of what we spoke about with Tom last week with what you just said then, things other people aren't doing and doing things differently. Similar to the story at C&K of the innovation piece and wanting to innovate. For somebody that's new to the space or hasn't been in the Amazon space before, what would you kind of recommend their starting approach to be? Would you say similar to what yours is of, okay, start with a bit of RA, then a bit of OA, and then once you've kind of found your feet with that, move into wholesale? Or would you say do it differently, and would you buy a course, for example, or mentorship, or how would you approach it?
Well, I can never recommend buying a course because, and even myself, if I was to show you my phone right now, my comments are full with people like, do you have a course?
Yeah.
Can I buy your mentorship? And I don't offer anything because I think there's so much free information out there on YouTube
Yeah.
or Twitter where people are just giving free advice, and it's like a gold mine out there. And that's the best way to start, right?
Yeah.
And once you've started and you're making a decent bit of money and you want to scale and you don't know how,
Yeah.
then I would recommend potentially going down the mentorship route and finding somebody that you can resonate with, somebody who's in a position where you want to be, and speak with them. So with me, it was flipping at 30.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was doing maybe like 10 or 15,000 a month. And then I spoke to him, who actually put me in contact with yourself.
Yeah.
And that allowed my business to scale to 7 figures within 12 months.
Which is crazy.
Absolutely. I would have never thought
You'd be where you are now.
like finishing university as a student, graduating, I would be making 7 figures on Amazon per year.
Yeah.
And yeah, life has just, well, I wouldn't say life has completely changed because I still live the boring life. I'm living at home with my parents. I don't spend any of the money I make. I invest all of.
No Ferrari on the drive.
I don't have a Rolex on my wrist just yet, but
yeah, that's great. It's great to hear kind of successes that people have made with Amazon and how they've made it their own, kind of made the business their own, and kind of gone, okay, well, I'm going to go in, kind of, what's the phrase? Go in fully with this and make a real go of it, kind of thing, which is it's really great. What would you say the challenges have been? Because obviously, I think Amazon, as Tom alluded to last week, Amazon's got a lot more challenging probably over the past 12 months or so. Would you say you've noticed that as a seller?
For myself, no.
Okay.
And I've not noticed it even 1% because I've put measures in place over the last 6 months to make sure that these things won't affect me.
Yeah.
I've seen the warning light 6 months ago when everybody was getting re-gated on things like Lego.
Yeah.
I thought I cannot run my business like how everybody else runs it. So I decided to work with brands directly, getting their full permission that I am going to be selling your product on Amazon, but I can also sell your product through my Shopify website or through my retail store. And with that, it gave me a cutting edge over everybody else because I'm not just an Amazon seller. I'm actually providing value to your brand as well as you providing value to myself.
And
So,
do brands appreciate that? So do brands see you? So earlier you alluded to, okay, you're not an Asda of the world or a Sainsbury's or whoever it might be. Do the brands still see you as a valuable asset to their business, and actually you're a trusted seller, and we trust you listing our products, and we trust you providing great customer service, etc.?
well, one way that I build relationships with the brand is, and I say it to my brother all the time, we treat them like it's your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
So the representative that comes down from the brand, if you, for example, give them a gift or you take them for a nice dinner,
Yeah.
it builds trust. And they see you as somebody more than just an online guy trying to make a little bit of a quick hustle.
Yeah.
It actually builds a proper friendship and relationship. And even now and then, some of my representatives that I've been working with for about 6 months, I give them a call just to catch up how they're doing.
Yeah.
It's not always about making money with these guys because they can see straight through you.
Yeah.
And with that, it's been super successful for me. And I try to pass on this advice to anybody who's trying to get into wholesale, where you've got to treat these guys as more than a cash cow and
Yeah.
a cash grab. And there's different ways you can have measures in place so that they want to work with you as well. For example, I'm Asian, right? As if it wasn't obvious. I say to these brands that, look, there's a massive demographic in the Asian community for your brands.
Yeah.
And the Asian community is very loyal. So if you can get me in with your brand, it's going to boom. And you will see better numbers with these demographics that aren't typically buying your products. And it has worked a treat for me.
And that's a great unique selling point for
Exactly.
your business as well. So we've heard about Yusuf's journey of being at university, setting up an Amazon business. So is this now a full-time thing for you? Are you 100% into Amazon full-time, or what else do you do? Do you have another job? How's it work?
So I graduated uni in September.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I got a first, actually. Let me
Oh,
just say,
okay.
my mum's very proud of that, so I've got to keep that in.
Even better.
So my goal for when I graduated was, if I'm making £8,000 profit per month, and this was 12 months before I graduated, I set that goal. If I'm making £8,000 per month, it's around 100K a year. That's fine. I'll take it full time at that point. So it's safe to say I've blown that figure out of the park.
Yeah.
And now I'm taking it full time. My brother works with me. He's part time.
Yeah.
My dad helps around a little bit here and there, and he just does it out of helping me, and he just loves to see it grow. So I am full time right now into Amazon, and I'm also a software developer. So I work a little bit on some side projects, but that's just purely out of passion. Really, it's not to make money.
Yeah. Okay. So being a software developer, that's obviously very talented. I couldn't ever do anything like that. Do you use those skills kind of with the Amazon business as well, or is it just a completely separate?
Well,
do a little project here and there kind of thing.
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
So sometimes if I've got a bit of downtime, I don't want to lose those skills. So I think, let me just code a quick project here and see the latest technology. How can I use it? So there's a bit of that. And also in terms of helping my Amazon business, I've created little tools that help me, for example, source through 10,000 lines of a wholesale sheet and see which products are good. And I can just leave that running overnight. And in the morning, I'll have a couple hundred products that I can order.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Saves going down 10,000 rows in the spreadsheet. So when you first started, I'm guessing it was like most people, in the house, in the kitchen, thousands of boxes, printing labels off, lots of products all over the shop. Mum probably sitting there going, Yusuf, what is all of this? At what point did you kind of realise, okay, well, we've scaled to the point now that we need to start looking at someone to support with our prep?
I can tell you've hit the nail on the head, because if I can show you some of the videos I had in my living room where there were just boxes stacked all the way to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And my mum was just, well, she wasn't angry about it. She understood where we were trying to go with the business, but when guests come in, it's not a nice thing where they've got to move all these boxes to different rooms and maneuver like it's an obstacle course, just climbing over everything. So at that, I think once we were doing around over 1,000 units per month, we thought getting a prep center would be the next move. And I really understood that from Tom, who was on last week, who suggested that if you're time rich, then it's better to, if you're time rich and money poor, it's better to spend all your time actually sourcing good products and then prepping them yourself. But if it's the other way around and you're money rich but time poor, then it's better to start outsourcing things.
Yeah.
And at that point, I started scaling to the extent where I knew that my time would be better spent sourcing the products rather than actually packing them at home myself.
Yeah.
And you know what, C&K have been a pleasure to work with, from the beginning. I'm pretty sure I was one of your first customers
You've
as
been with
well.
us for, I think we've known you for a good, must be coming up to 2 years now.
Yeah,
I think it was early days when you
yeah,
started using a prep center. And I remember those very early conversations, and you're one of those customers that we've seen exponential growth from. So it's gone from doing a few hundred units a month to constantly doing 6, 7, 8,000 units a month, which is great.
and I think I kind of hit the lottery with C&K because I'd never used a prep center before you guys.
Yeah,
So I've not had the experience of an actual bad prep center. You know, these nightmare stories you hear from people
yeah,
where they're like, they hold it for 2 weeks and then you don't know where it's going. Is it going? How many have they got? Which ones arrived? Which ones didn't arrive?
yeah.
So I've not had a nightmare experience yet.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. But once I had C&K, I literally created, and I say this to my dad, I created GTA 6 before GTA 6 came out
Okay, yeah,
because I could literally be in bed, place the orders, have a quick nap, wake up, go out with my friends, and go on holiday and take my laptop with me.
yeah,
And I could just be making more money than I was before, or more money as I even would as a software engineer,
yeah.
a senior software engineer, actually. So it's literally, as I described it, GTA 6 in real life with a prep
I
center.
don't think anybody's ever described it as that, to be honest. It's, as we kind of alluded to last week, it's a pleasure to work with people on their business and help them grow their business rather than just be, I send it to a prep center and we go, okay, yeah, we're sending that, off we go. We want that true partnership approach and to build partnerships with our customers. I feel like we've done that really well actually with you guys.
Definitely. And we've even been to dinners together.
We have.
And I don't think any other prep center really does that with their customers, where you take people to England games and you have
Yeah.
quick fun giveaways and you take people to dinner. We had a really nice dinner, by the way.
It's about it's the community
Yeah.
approach. Okay, there's all these groups out there, and they're doing a really good job. Some might be a little bit saturated. I think it's again coming back to the new ideas and how do you create a group that does things completely differently. But the whole kind of approach of C&K, especially over the past 12 to 14 months, has been let's create a community of Amazon sellers that share C&K in common, but actually it's an opportunity for them to build relationships and them to get to know each other and learn off each other and lean on each other. I think, especially with lots of the Section 3s that have been going around and the challenges to do with that, it's been really great for everybody to be able to support each other with that and chat to each other and have that proper community feel.
Yeah, props to yourself. You built an actual community.
Mm.
And it's not just a community feel because in the Discord, there's actual community chats where everybody's talking with each other and giving
Yeah.
advice. And I remember a couple of days back, somebody had some concerns over the future of Amazon, and everybody else was sharing their thoughts and
Yeah.
concerns. Some people were being supportive, and everybody was giving different opinions. I didn't really contribute to the chat, but reading it was really nice to
Yeah.
see.
It's a great. We're really proud of what we built in that regard. To be fair, really, really proud. So we're sat here now, end of November, coming towards the end of Q4. How has that been for you? Is Q4 a time that you jump on more deals and work closer with your contacts, or would you say it's pretty consistent throughout the year?
The way I do the brand direct wholesale, it's pretty much consistent throughout the year.
Yeah,
I don't see like the big surge a lot of sellers do in Q4 because the brands actually put their Q4 discounts out in towards the middle of Q3.
yeah,
So everybody can actually purchase an order for the Black Friday sales and for the December sales. So I see my sales sort of spike
yeah.
around October, and I say maybe I should start ordering more stock in because right now I'm pretty dry.
We've noticed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really interesting actually. So we've been looking at data recently of, okay, how's this year compared to last year? And I think we're 49 to 51% up week on
wow,
week, every week from last year. But everyone's still experiencing the same day turnaround. Okay, if it gets busy, we get a weekend shift in or a night shift or whatever it might be. And that gives people the confidence to buy leads and know they'll still go in time for Christmas. I think it was last year actually that customers were buying goods still up until the 20th, 21st of December, and we were still getting them in 23rd, 24th of December. So people still had it either in time for Christmas or between that lull between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
And it's the beauty of that to be able to deliver. To be able to deliver, that's really, really great.
No, I remember I was selling some Christmas toys this time last year, and on the 22nd, I bought them from the supplier.
Yeah.
You got them on the 23rd, and I got the sale on the 24th.
Yeah.
And they all sold out on the 24th, and it was like, that's crazy.
Do you think
Probably last minute shopping from the dads out there, but
I'm one of them. So every Christmas Eve you'll find me in Sainsbury's about 10 o'clock at night, literally going, right, who's not got a present yet? Kind of thinking along those lines. How do you think kind of we get, and I'm touching on this again from the conversation with Tom last week because I like to hear lots of different people's opinions, but do you think CK Logistics really does change the game for Amazon sellers when it comes to getting goods in quicker and getting your goods through the Amazon system quicker and giving you that competitive advantage? I know I use that word quite a lot.
No, you're spot on with that word, because CK Logistics, it is the game changer in the Amazon space. Nobody else has even got close to replicating what you've done with that.
Yeah.
I remember I had one instance where on Thursday night, Thursday 4 p.m., I ordered a pallet worth of a product, and you got it on the Friday morning, prepped it by midday, and I got the sale within like 16 hours of ordering the product.
Yeah.
And that's such a massive competitive edge, because I got about £1,000 worth of sales in those 24 hours on that one product. Now,
And it gives you the money back then to reinvest in more stock.
Now, if I'm using anybody else, if I'm using UPS or even worse, another prep center, I'm going to be waiting around a month before that product actually sells on Amazon. And
sorry, other prep centers.
Sorry, other preps. I'm not going to name any names. I was going to name names.
Let's not.
I'll save you any legal trouble.
Yeah, thank you.
But in that month where you're selling that product, you're getting like maybe £10,000 worth of sales that you just wouldn't have got otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's a complete game changer. It's just free money in the pocket using CK Logistics. I know it has a fee, but that fee pretty much cancels itself out, because the money that you make from CK Logistics, it's considerably more than the actual cost of the logistics itself.
Well, it was Tom last week working out his shipping costs and said he'd saved almost £10,000 in a year just from using CK Logistics. And that's £10,000 is astronomical to any business. Think of making a capital purchase now of 10 grand. That's crazy.
It's mental, and it's even better if you've got heavy goods.
Yeah.
Like those, I don't want to mention which product it was. There was a very, which one I mean.
I know what you mean.
There was a heavy product that I had, and I was ordering pallets worth of this at a time.
Yeah.
And it would have cost me hundreds and maybe even thousands of pounds to get that shipped in with UPS to Amazon. And with CK Logistics, it's all included.
Yeah. Which is good.
It's excellent.
It's great. For us, though, it's about what is the next idea? How do we we get a lot of sellers at the moment very nervous about being an Amazon seller. Amazon, rightly or wrongly, aren't really looking after sellers as much as they probably should be. And people kind of saying, okay, well, as we go into the new year, what does it look like, kind of thing? What's your kind of view on that? How do you think it's going to look being an Amazon seller going into the new year? Are you going to carry on as you are, or wholesale changes around the corner, or what's your view?
I think Amazon, as we see it, is dying. And usually the US, they generally get it a month or two before the other countries get the bad news. But we've seen recently there's been massive gatings with Nike, Adidas, these sort of brands in the US. And I think that in a couple of months we'll see that in the UK.
Yeah.
So arbitrage is pretty much dying in the US. Or you have to pivot away from the bigger brands and work with the mid to small range brands.
Yeah.
Because they won't really have the time or as much resources to actually say to Amazon, look, we need to get all of these guys and stop all these guys from selling. Because for these mid-range brands, you're actually doing them a favor by selling their product.
Yeah.
But for Nike and Adidas and these guys, they probably don't want hundreds of sellers selling their socks. 90% of them might be selling fake socks.
Yeah.
So I'd say arbitrage is probably dying. The best way to go forward would be brand direct wholesale and getting permission from the brands to actually sell the product, because then you know you're not going to be in a case where you have £15,000 worth of stock. Some people have hundreds of £1,000s worth of stock in your Amazon warehouse storage, just sitting there praying that something changes, and then it's just a nightmare for most
Because
businesses.
that's a bad hole to go down,
Yeah.
isn't it? But we have to look on the positive side as well. Everybody buys off Amazon every single day. So I don't know. I went on there the other day and bought a Chloe perfume, for example. And you just go on there, you look for the product you want, and you click buy, and you purchase it with no thought whatsoever. And as a consumer, I know that I can buy something from Amazon and it'll be there tomorrow. I don't think that's going to go away. So I think there is still plenty of opportunity for people. I think it's, as you kind of alluded to, it's being creative with that opportunity, being creative, being an Amazon seller to give yourself business longevity rather than I'm just going to be an Amazon seller and hope for the best kind of thing.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, a lot of customers don't actually know that Amazon is a marketplace.
Yeah.
For example, if I speak to my dad's friends or people around in their mid to late 40s, they don't know that third-party sellers are selling their products on Amazon, and they don't know if it's an actual legitimate product.
Yeah.
So I can see where Amazon's coming in the sense where they want to crack down on third-party sellers who are buying from dodgy websites. And that makes complete sense for them, because if a customer gets a fake iPhone, for example, it's a big problem, right? You've got a £1,500 phone, then it's £2 remake from China. It's not the best for the customer. So as you mentioned, having these processes in place where you're buying legitimate goods and you're being creative with it, that's the best way to go forward as an Amazon seller.
Yeah. It's certainly an exciting time to be an Amazon seller, isn't it?
Definitely.
But I think I saw an interesting fact on, I don't know whether it was LinkedIn or something like that third-party sellers make up over 80% of the goods sold on Amazon. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere. No. I think it's just doing it properly. I think is probably the word, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely won't go anywhere, because I think if Amazon actually had a problem with third-party sellers, then they would get rid of the A2As.
Yeah.
But Amazon, they're not too stock heavy. They want a fast turnaround of goods.
Yeah.
And they know it's safe for them if all their stock is for third-party sellers, because there's no risk involved in them in terms of, is this going to sell, is it not going to sell, if they don't actually own the stock. So Amazon's business model won't change in that sense, because why take the extra risk? Why take on the risk ourselves?
Yeah.
As Amazon, it's better just to leave it to the sellers. So they are cracking down on what you can and what you can't sell, but 80% of the goods will always be to the third party sellers. They won't ever start owning more of it themselves.
So all these challenges that are around at the moment, have you experienced any of them in your Amazon business, or would you say everything's kind of flowing normally and as you'd expect, and it's not really affected you?
No, everything's been pretty smooth sailing. Sorry. We had an instance of one brand which said, we don't want third-party sellers selling anymore.
Yeah.
But because we had that relationship with the brand and we were very friendly with them and we were on good terms, they let us sell out our stock first.
Yeah.
At about £20,000 worth of stock sat there. So they let us sell that out, and moving forward, they don't want their product being sold anymore.
Yeah.
So that's
fair that they'd let you sell the stock,
exactly.
and you weren't sat with 20 grand worth of stock with nothing.
No, that would be a nightmare.
Nothing to do with. Yeah.
But besides that, no, everything's been pretty fine for us. Thank God.
So let's just talk a little bit, Yusuf, about when you first started as an Amazon seller. So you set up your Seller Central account and you got all kind of your business requirements in order. How much did you invest? Did you have capital to put in, or was it I started with nothing and kind of grew it from there?
I had a little bit of savings when I first started.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was all completely new to me. So I didn't want to put, let's just say, £5,000 in
Yeah.
and not get it back, because for me, I didn't even know what Amazon was as a third-party selling platform.
Yeah.
So I put £1,000 in when I first started, and I got that money back relatively quickly because the products that I actually bought were through the Discord leads,
Yeah.
and they all sold very quickly and very well. So as soon as I got the proof of concept down to a T, I put around £3,500 in total
Yeah.
to start with, and that was pretty much all my savings at the time.
So big risk.
It was a massive risk.
Yeah.
And I knew if this didn't pay off, I would probably have to have another part-time job or something and start paying the bills with that.
Yeah. And so that investment went in, and from that investment going in, you said that the you got it back relatively quickly. If you had more money at the time, so say we've got new sellers that might have £10,000 worth of savings or 20 grand or whatever it might be, would you have put that money in the business, or would you say for any new seller watching that actually I had this amount of money and I would not have put even more in if I had that money, if that makes sense?
So my advice for new sellers would be get a proof of concept working. So if you actually if you have any doubts right now whether Amazon's a thing for you, put about £1,000 in, £1,500 in, and once you get that back, if the more you can put in, the merrier. If you can put £10,000 in, you're going to just see it come back in dividends, and you'll be scaling up absolutely rapidly.
Dip your toe in the water. That's what they
Exactly.
say, isn't
Exactly. I know a lot of people online, they give the advice that you have to go all in, because if you don't go all in, then you can't be fully committed. But I come from a different point of view where you want to at least see it working before you go all in.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know anything about crypto. I'm not just going to put all my bank account into crypto before actually.
And hope for the best.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
It's stupid. So be smart with it.
Yeah.
But once you're in, don't get all of this shiny object syndrome where you see a new side hustle every other month and you want to take all your money out of here and put it into, for example, rent to rent.
Yeah.
Or copywriting or agency work. So stick with the side hustle and you will see it grow and you will see success with it.
So with the sticking with it, I'll kind of on that theme, what point did you kind of realize, well, okay, I'm not going to go into a normal 9 to 5. I'm going to leave uni and I'm going to do this full time. What point kind of made you realize, okay, that's 100% what I'm going to do?
Well, I actually had shiny object syndrome when I first started.
Yeah.
I remember there was a YouTube video I saw of Samuel Leeds, and he was talking about all of the side hustles being rubbish and you need to do rent to rent. And I've got a free course here, so quit what you're doing and come to my free course. And he was such a good sales rep that I thought, okay, like this guy, what he's saying, he's the guru, he's the man.
Yeah.
So if I listened to him, I wouldn't be in Amazon right now. But I went to his thing and it was a complete bullshit. It was just him trying to upsell his free course to get you on his £10,000 a month course.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was complete nonsense. So I moved on from that and I thought I have to just stick with Amazon, because I saw people like flipping at 30. There's a guy called Sati from Live Cops.
Yeah.
A few other guys in Live Cops were doing big numbers, and they at the time were doing around 13, 14, 15,000 pounds a month. So I thought, if these guys can do it, why can't I do it? Like, everybody is human. Like, nobody's like superhuman that they've got all these skills and know-how. Everybody started at one point. So that's my logic in going into things. If somebody can make a full-time living out of it, why can't you?
It just proves it's possible.
Exactly.
It proves the possibility, and actually put your mind to something. Anyone can achieve great success by doing that. On the success part, what's your highest ever revenue day?
My highest ever revenue day was £10,000.
Okay.
And I did over £1,500 profit that day.
How did that make you feel?
That was absolutely mental. I can't even, I was refreshing the sales. Actually, I lied. Sorry, I lied. It was £9,950.
Yeah.
And I was refreshing the seller app for the last 10 minutes, hoping I would get another sale
Yeah.
to get it over the £10,000 mark.
But it never came.
But it just never came.
Man.
So it was 9,950.
Yeah.
And that was mental because I was working a placement year
Yeah.
at the time. And my wage from that as a software developer was like 1,500.
So you
So I
pretty much
made
made
that
that in a day.
in a day.
Wow.
And if I was to become a software engineer after uni,
Yeah.
best case scenario, I would be earning around £5,000 a month.
Yeah.
So once I had cleared that, I knew a 9 to 5 wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I know for a lot of people, and I'm not going to be that guy that shits on 9 to 5s, because you need 9 to 5s.
You need
Everybody,
security for your family and all
exactly,
this
and the
other-
world in general needs 9 to 5s, because if everybody quit their 9 to 5 and did a side hustle, there would be
We'd have a
nobody.
problem.
Exactly, like there'd be nobody in Amazon to pack the boxes.
Yeah.
So there has to be people working these jobs. I'm not going to shit on them. I respect people that can work them.
Yeah.
But once I saw the money coming in from this, I knew that the work life in the office, working for somebody else,
Was just not for you.
wasn't for me.
And obviously, you said your brother's involved in the business and your dad's involved in the business. Are you an impulse spender? So, is there a dream purchase that you want to go make, but everybody with you has kind of gone, no, Yusuf, you can't do that?
Yeah.
And if so, what is that dream purchase?
I have one dream purchase
Yeah.
and nothing else. Like, I don't care about watches. I don't care about living in a fancy house.
Yeah.
None of that. I just want a McLaren.
Okay.
And that, alhamdulillah, we say, it means praise to God. I'm in a position where I can buy a McLaren right now.
Yeah.
But everybody around me is saying no.
Oh.
So I feel a bit held back right now.
Oh.
Maybe sometime next year.
We're gonna have to do a part 2, Yusuf.
Look, and
Out.
part two, we'll do it in my McLaren.
In the McLaren, yeah.
You won't hear anything because the engine will just be revving
Yeah.
so loud. But hopefully, within the next year, if I can get that, that would be a complete dream for me.
But to be in that position already,
That would be, yeah.
in what, 2 years is just incredible.
I would have never thought that. And I have to thank my friend who actually put me on in the first place.
Yeah. Did you say he's not doing Amazon anymore?
No, it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
He's more down the educational route, so he's becoming a doctor.
Oh, okay, excellent.
And like I said, side hustles are not for everybody. A 9 to 5 isn't for everybody. You have to just find what is for you. And once you're in that position, just focus on that.
Yeah.
Don't get different shiny objects. Don't start looking elsewhere to see what everybody else is doing. Just focus on what you're doing and you will see straight success.
Has there ever been a point being an Amazon seller that you've had a day that's worried you or frightened you or kind of gone, oh my God, what on earth am I doing this for?
I think a lot of nights I just slept thinking, is there any longevity in this?
Yeah.
Because when you're seeing all these Amazon sellers on Twitter, especially, moving away from Amazon and getting Section 3'd or restricted on all their brands and different categories, you think, what's gonna happen one day if I just wake up and I have no Amazon store?
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do? So those kind of nights, I sleep worrying, and I need a second source of income.
Yeah.
To come in. But right now, I've put the systems in place, and I want to move away from just an Amazon seller. I want to build my brand where people can come to my retail store, people can come to my online website, and I push these channels a lot more.
Yeah.
So that 90% of my income is not just on Amazon, and maybe if it was like 30.
It gives you that security as well, doesn't it?
Exactly. And if it's on a platform that you own rather than Amazon, you have, like you mentioned, that security.
And the beauty of that as well is we can still support you with that.
Yeah.
At C&K, we do all of the additional services with direct to consumer and FBM and all of those things. So it's a continued partnership that we can grow the business together kind of thing, which will be really great, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
What does your mum think to all this? Is she...
My mom is very skeptical.
Okay, still?
Okay. Like to this day, she'll see my TikToks where I'm talking about, I made 100k in sales last month or 200k in sales last month, and she just doesn't believe that it's true. Okay. So she thinks I'm one of those online gurus where I'm putting fake numbers out there to sell a course.
Yeah.
But I don't sell a course. So I don't know where she thinks I'm going with this. She's very skeptical, and it comes from a good place because she wants her son to have a secure job.
Yeah.
A secure work, a secure amount of income coming in, and not knowing knowing what's going to happen the next day.
Yeah.
And not go to sleep worrying. So my mum is very skeptical.
Yeah.
But I've just recently bought a new car, and that costs
So
£40,000.
it's not a McLaren.
It's not a McLaren, it's a Mercedes
Oh, very
C-Class.
nice. Yeah.
It's very nice. Not quite a McLaren, but when she saw that, I think she realised, okay, maybe there is real money in this
Yeah.
and not just a fake number on the screen.
Yeah.
My dad has always had the other side of you where even when I was doing £1,000 a month on Amazon, he knew where this could go because he was actually involved in the business
Yeah.
and he helped with scaling the business as well. So I guess my dad comes from a bit more of a business background.
Yeah.
My mum comes from more of a caring place. But my mum does have a business actually. So
Is all of your business done from home, or have you got a storefront or
Yeah.
a physical bricks and mortar store? How's that work?
So like I mentioned, you have to do things to stand out.
Yeah.
And my advice to new sellers is when you're applying for wholesale, don't give them a reason to say no. And a lot of people have objection handling, where if they say no, then say I can do this instead. No. How I see it is just don't give them a reason to say no.
Yeah.
In the first place, right? So a lot of wholesalers will say, we need a brick and mortar store to work with you. And at the start, that would hold me back. But I thought, well, if I can just get a retail store, how much would that even cost?
Yeah.
So I found one that was £400 a month. And with that, I opened so many wholesale accounts.
Yeah.
I just had a retail store, a few products in, and I would sit there just working there all day.
Yeah.
So if any customers were to come in or any sales reps were to come in, I could speak to them.
Yeah.
But with that's the secret tip I would give to anybody watching.
Yeah.
Try get a retail store if you can.
100,000 square foot warehouse.
But recently we've actually outgrown that retail store, so we've got a new 2,500 square foot warehouse.
Have you?
Yep.
Wow.
And in that we're going to have a retail store and a bit of storage as well.
Yeah. Are we moved in yet, or is that?
So I got the keys literally last week.
Okay.
1.5 weeks ago, sorry.
Yeah.
And it's so, like to see it in person, where before my retail store was 200 square foot.
Yeah. Oh,
It was
10
like you
times
couldn't even
the size.
swing a cat in my old store.
Yeah.
But this one was absolute. I'm just looking at it. It's a dream come true because when
Yeah.
you see these things in person and see how far you've come, it's I don't have the words for it really.
Yeah.
Because this space is absolutely. I've got so much space to work with. Right now we're just playing games in there. We set up some football and let them just kicking a ball around.
Make the most of that
Exactly,
until it gets full.
It is quite cold in there though.
It's the cold time of the year to be operating any warehouse, put it that way.
And I have a lot of respect for warehouse workers when I'm in my own unit and I'm there for like 1 hour, my hands just go yellow because it's so cold and I can't bend my fingers to do anything, pack anything. So I have a lot of respect for yourself and your team because you've been doing that in all throughout winter when it's cold, Saturday mornings.
In winter, it's woolly hats and gloves, and in summer, it's shorts and flip flops, as they say. But yeah, that's the nature of it, isn't it? But no, that sounds super exciting. Really, really exciting.
Well, we're very excited for it. Hopefully, and if we become an 8-figure seller within the next year, that's the plan. I think with this new place, we've got the goals set out, we've got the path set out to become 8-figure sellers.
Yeah.
And I set the goal high because if you fall short, you're still a success.
Yeah, 100%.
So for the next, I think 2025, I want to be hitting 8 figures in revenue, which is going to be a difficult challenge, but I think we can do it.
I think you can as well. So Yusuf, on the subject of kind of e-commerce, and as you've kind of alluded to, the kind of areas of e-commerce outside of Amazon, I know a lot of people talk about TikTok and TikTok Shop. Do you think that's just a fad, or do you think there is actually a real opportunity there?
I think within the next 5 years, TikTok Shop is going to blow up. By blow up, I mean it's going to be the predominant marketplace out there. And I say this because, for one, they're partnering with Amazon.
Yeah.
So Amazon will be doing the fulfillment side of things for TikTok Shop. And also the way that consumerism's going is that people are purchasing from personal brands as opposed to these big corporate brands.
Yeah.
So for example, Currys, Argos, Sainsbury's, these kinds of guys, people aren't going in to buy beauty products or technology through to these stores anymore.
Yeah.
People are actually buying from personal creators. For example, you've seen Foot Asylum do it really well, where they get loads of creators on and make the creators wear the clothing.
Yeah.
And when people are watching the content and scrolling through their phone, they see, like, I like that hoodie. Where can I get it from? And then the link's just there
It's
on the
straight there,
TikTok.
buy it straight away.
Right. And that's the best way that consumerism can go.
Yeah.
And if you want to see success and future proof your business, I think TikTok Shop is the way.
Yeah.
And I've started looking into it myself.
So we've actually been doing
Yeah.
TikTok Shop for a few months now. We don't have many customers that use it, but some customers do. And that works exactly the same with CK Logistics of TikTok have a fulfillment warehouse. We deliver the goods in same next day, and they're available for sale straight away and fulfilled by TikTok directly. It's the beauty of that they're on the start of their journey with that, and to be involved with that from the start of their journey gives us a really great kind of competitive advantage as well, which we're really excited about.
And you've got your foot in the door with it.
Yeah.
So when future opportunities open with TikTok, you're going to be the guy, hopefully, and hopefully replicate your success that you've done with Amazon, but with TikTok Shop. And we look at traditional consumerism in terms of these high street retailers. Nobody's really going to retail stores to buy a laptop anymore.
Yeah. It's all done online, isn't it?
It's exactly. Everything's done online. I think clothing and groceries will stay in terms of in-foot retail traffic.
Yeah.
But everything else is going online. And in the online space, even that's diverging into two separate categories where you have the boring companies who are so upfront in their suits trying to promote brands the old way. And then you've got guys just with their iPhone getting more sales on their brand.
Yeah.
Everything just on their phone than brands that have been out there for years and decades. I think there was an example of a perfume seller that I saw on my TikTok the other day, and he does 2 million a month in revenue through his perfume store on TikTok.
That's crazy.
And all he does is he has a microphone set up, a table, and he just talk about the different perfumes on TikTok live all day.
Yeah.
And he gets so many sales.
That's just on TikTok.
That's just on TikTok.
It's crazy, isn't it? And it would be great to see some Amazon sellers move over to either dabble in that work stream or be interesting to see if some sacking Amazon altogether and just go to TikTok. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see.
I think the best play is to have your chips in different tables.
Fingers in different pies.
Fingers in different pies. I don't know what the term
fingers
is.
in pies, chips on tables.
Yeah. And that way, if one goes, you're not losing everything. You're not risking it all.
Yeah. And it's a big risk,
exactly,
that is, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Yusuf, I know you alluded to earlier about how you were introduced to us through Flipping at 30, Tom, which is great. If you're a new seller in the space, what kind of considerations would you advise people to look for when choosing a prep centre?
Right. So there's 3 things that I'd look for when choosing a prep centre. And the first is their relationship with the customer.
Yeah.
The second is turnaround time. And the third is how expensive it actually is.
Which is the most important out of those 3?
I think I said it in the order. So
that is the order. Okay.
For me, the communication with the seller is the most important.
Yeah.
And with yourself, the communication is perfect. Where if you've got a problem, you can literally call them, send a message on Discord, quick notes, and it's more of a partnership rather than a business customer relationship. I see it more of a partnership. The second is turnaround times, where a lot of prep centers take weeks to months to actually fulfill your orders and get them packed in and sent to Amazon. And the final one is pricing. So they can have perfect relationships with their customers and they can have perfect turnaround times, but if they're charging like £3 per unit or even £10 per unit, for example, right?
Yeah.
There's no point using them because that's just going to eat into your business's profits. So with yourselves, I think you're one of the cheaper prep centers.
Yeah.
The turnaround time is probably the best, and your customer relationships are probably the best as well. So a lot of new sellers that are coming to me, I'm just pointing them your way.
Yeah.
and I have no affiliation with yourself. Like, I'm not getting a
You're not getting
referral
paid
link.
to
I'm
say
not
this.
getting affiliate. Exactly. And that's how you know that it's genuine advice, because
Yeah,
no money's coming into my pocket if 10 extra customers come to yourself.
yeah,
It's more so I can sleep better at night that I've sent somebody the right way in their business, rather than to some of your competitors who
yeah.
might even be stealing products. Who knows, right? A lot
Who knows?
of them
It's
say that.
it's interesting you say that, because you get quite a lot of new prep centers now on the market charging quite low pricing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not just about the price. Actually, you might be paying 40p a unit, but you might be waiting 3 weeks for your product to get sent into Amazon. That's where you get stung with the competitive advantage piece we were talking about earlier. And it can be really kind of tricky and frustrating, I suppose, just to be sat there going, I just need my product sending into Amazon. What is the issue, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think if it's just about pricing, you can get your grandmother to pack it at home. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But
yeah.
you won't get the best service with that. So
It's the same with any kind of
yeah,
experience, though, isn't it? You want, in any retail sense, you want a great service from any business. And that's always been one of our fundamental things, to deliver an excellent service all the time, kind of thing. So yeah,
yeah. So you pay for what you get, essentially, with a lot of services.
yeah,
But at the same time, you don't want to be fleeced.
no, 100%. I think I said last week, our prices have been frozen for 2 years now, coming up to 3. It's just about delivering that great job, especially with CK Logistics as well. That is a great opportunity for any seller, new, established, to really take advantage of getting their goods into Amazon really quickly. So it's an exciting time for our business, really exciting time. So talking on the mentorship piece, I know there's a lot of people out there selling courses, selling mentorships for new sellers and established sellers as well. But I've noticed it's something that you don't do. Is there a specific reason for this?
Look, Tom, I can bring out my phone right now, and my DMs are spammed. Everyone's asking for a course or mentorship, and I'm putting it on the line. I will never have a course,
Yeah,
because there's so much free information out there on YouTube that why should I need to make a paid course and scam these guys from the beginning of their Amazon journey,
yeah,
set them back a few steps, paying for my course, when it's so much easier just to go onto YouTube or get into a community like Live Cops or Arbitrage Heroes or something like that. I don't know if that's
yeah,
the name, but one of these guys, and join them,
yeah,
and you can learn for free. But in terms of scaling your business, I think I might open up a few slots soon where if somebody's already got a successful business and they want to take it to the next step,
yeah,
then potentially we can have something where they can book a call with myself.
which would be excellent.
I think not from a financial perspective for me, but in terms of helping people out.
Networking
And
and yeah,
exactly.
100%. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Yusuf, ever so much for coming in today. It's been really insightful to talk to you and hear about your journey and about what's next. And I'm sure everybody watching is going to kind of stay tuned with that, because it's a really exciting time.
Thank you very much, Tom. It's been an absolute pleasure coming down. But now I've got the drive back up, so maybe I'll make it out alive. Who knows?
Yeah. Let me know in 3 hours' time. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. Next time, we're going to be speaking to another very special guest who's going to give us loads of insight into their Amazon business and their Amazon journey. But it's been a great session, and we're really looking forward to what's around the corner. Thank you ever so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care.